feel free to give us a call, 612-504-8400 or havenfinancialgroup.com. Check out all the calendar of events, all the retirement tools. And again, no question is a dumb question. They're all good questions, because if you have a question, our job description is truly to answer those questions. You never should be too timid to ask those. So, Kim, retirement portfolio rebalancing, we talk about it. Important, and very few people actually do it.
Yeah, and it's especially important at the beginning of any new year, because laws change and situations change in your life. But it's really important to maybe, partner with someone this year and to take a look at your portfolio and see if you need a rebalancing, because we have a change in administration coming. So we can anticipate that there is going to be some changes, and this is the perfect time to do that, isn't it?
It is. I mean, there's no time better than the present. If you have a plan in place with your investment portfolio that has been in place, have you just kind of set it in stone and not touched it and done the same thing for 20, 30 years, which a lot of people have.
Sure.
And I'm not saying that's bad, but what's changed is you and I, we've also gotten 10, 20, or 30 years older.
Yeah. Right.
The timeline of life has changed. The types of investments, the risk tolerance, if you will, maybe not at the same threshold as you used to be, simply because you're this age now and not that age. So, it's important to prioritize different types of accounts, tax deferred, what type of investments should go in there rather than a Roth IRA, which is more longer term, or a brokerage account, which has potential long-term capital gains. All this should be thoughtfully looked at. Mm-hmm. When do you rebalance? Well, the investment team here and many, we rebalance when there's more volatility, when there's a change of events and maybe in your life. Maybe you need cash on a monthly basis. There's a variety of things that go into that. And there's statistics that show by rebalancing, it can improve your percentage of growth in your portfolio fairly significantly. When I say that, 2, 3, 4% doesn't sound like much, but over time, it can be a very big number. So rebalancing is one big thing. We talked about taxes. Many times throughout the year, based on the market, ups and downs, tax loss harvesting. It's one of those things. It's a tax plan, if you will. Maybe things are down. Maybe you sell things off, buy an equivalent, take the loss, offsetting income. It can be very powerful. We've had numerous times over the last year where we've done it, and our clients are like, wow, that made perfect sense. That really did. Most would not do it. Mm-hmm. So that should be done. Cash flow analysis. All of these things, which I'm going to continue talking about, and I know we're not the only ones, at Haven Financial Group and our investment team and our wealth management team, these are the things that we do that literally could be taken for granted because it's just natural. It's the natural thing that we do. And for most, if they're dealing with just an investment firm, they're not able to talk about all the other things.
Right.
I think it was last week, Kyle White's certified financial planner, one of several on the team here. He worked for a big captive company, and all he could talk about was his investments. And guess what? His credentials prove that he's like, well, I don't want to just talk investments. Otherwise, why do I have CFP behind my name? He couldn't talk taxes. He couldn't talk estate planning. He couldn't talk about any of those things. And many are working with somebody that's limited, and maybe that's fine, but maybe it's not fine.
Right.
So these are the things to be mindful of. Roth conversions, IRA to Roth conversions, which we just finished up now for this year. But what about next year? It's not too early to start thinking about it. Maybe you're retiring. Maybe next year's income looks very different than this year's. This is the conversation. Whether it leads to anything or changes anything, maybe, maybe not. But what it does, it can be very beneficial and potentially profitable to your portfolio, to you, your spouse, and your family.
Well, and you know what, Larry, you talk about things that I think most people don't even realize they need to be thinking about, and for good reason. This is not your world of expertise, but it is the folks at Haven Financial. So you guys know, as you just mentioned, tax loss harvesting and, being mindful of capital gain distribution. These are the kinds of things that you need a partner for, because you don't really know that you even need to rebalance.
Yeah. And sometimes people say, well, the more trades I see them doing, I know they're paying attention. In many cases, you should avoid frequent trading or day trading. That's probably in a lot of cases not the best move for you.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping all over the place, not knowing where you're at, what risk model, what type of investments, the right recipe for the portfolio. Be very careful with that. In most cases today, for most of the trading platforms, there should be no cost for trades. I'm not saying if you're paying for trades, I'm not saying that's bad, but it's a competitive industry where you don't need to. But that's no need to be trading and trading and trading. Mm-hmm. In the day, we always joke that you knew your guy or gal's kids needed braces because there was always a bunch of trades at a certain period of time. Well, maybe that wasn't the case, but today, the buy and hold strategy, some would say, is that still valid? Some say yes, some say no. We have our own opinions. But figuring out your situation, that's what matters.
Right.
Not your brother's situation, not your friend's situation. Do you have the same financial situation? Do you have to have the same No, we all have different things. Mm-hmm. It's not one glove fits all. This should not be cookie cutter.
Right.
It doesn't have to be complicated, but it should be customized to you, your situation, spouse if you're married, and your family goals and objectives for this year, 5 years, 15 years, 20 and 30 years.
Absolutely. If someone may come to see you, Larry, and maybe they don't need a rebalance, not this year. That's a possibility, right?
Certainly a possibility. Absolutely. We don't do it just for the sake of doing it.
Right.
But we look at, when we Monte Carlo do the projections out, we're going to look at the tax efficiency. Actually, first and foremost, we're going to stress test the portfolio to make sure it's where they are comfortable at this stage of life. Mm-hmm. And when I say comfortable, that can mean different things for different people. I had Dan and Marlis in from Egan last week. They were very open-minded, They said, we're not very savvy on investments. They had done a good job saving. I told them, unintentional or intentional, you did a great job, whether it was luck or not luck. I said, what's your comfort level at this stage of life? Do you want a bunch of risk? Absolutely not. They didn't need to. They had done a good job. Mm-hmm. But what they were doing was completely opposite of what they thought they were doing. Now, things look really good because the market has been really good. We've set some all-time highs, so who wouldn't be happy? But the alternative, when the other happens, I go, how will this make you feel? Oh, that would be devastating at this time. Now, devastating might have been a hard word that they used, but they wouldn't like it and they didn't need it. And I'll tell you this, almost always, there's probably a better word, but with couples, one's more of a risk taker, one's not. Mm-hmm. What's the happy medium? Well, everybody maybe should give a little bit, but you have your risk money, you have your protected money. I call that the retirement anchor to your portfolio. You have your liquid money. The problem is we see folks come in and have very little liquid and everything at risk in the market and nothing protected. And somehow that's a good recipe to go into retirement. It's not. I compare. I joke, and my wife and I live a mile from Mystic Lake Casino. Everybody's winning there, except they're not. Would you bring your checkbook? Would you bring your checkbook? They don't take checks, actually. Would you bring your whole retirement cash portfolio to the blackjack table? Absolutely not. Yeah, you'd be surprised how many, comparatively speaking, are doing that with their retirement. It's fun to win. It's not fun to lose. And here's what I do know, that over long periods of time, the market will give more than any investment. However, we get older in between, and the element of time creeps into the picture. And really, that's what matters.
Absolutely. You bet. So if you're listening and you're thinking to yourself, I might need a rebalance of my portfolio. Maybe you don't have a portfolio and you just like to get one started. Give the folks here at Haven Financial Group a call. It's 612-504-8400. Tell them you heard Larry and me here on the radio. Again, it's 612-504-8400.